How often do you think about the Oscars? I mean, really think about the Oscars. I know we all think about them for like 3 months at the start of the year when the race is actually on, but like, how often do you actually think about how many movies have won an Oscar? It's over 1,000 at this point, over 1,050 actually. They range in genre from sci-fi to horror to drama to comedy to drama to romance to drama to Jesus Christ. There's so many dramas, you guys, you don't even know. And they range in quality from genuine classics we still talk about to this day to hidden gems we've forgotten unfairly to genuinely some of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. But all those movies are kind of a snapshot of where culture was at the time they won, because they won Oscars, because they were considered big and important enough to be Oscar nominees, because the Academy saw something in them, even if we don't totally get it. So the premise of this podcast is this. Every episode, I will randomly determine an Oscar-winning movie, get two volunteer guests to talk about it with me, and we'll chat. The discussions will be a little free-form, a little loose. The only requirement for guests is that one of the three of us, either myself or one of my guests, has to be watching the movie for the first time. At least one. Sometimes it's all three of us. That's fairly common, actually, because a lot of these movies are more obscure than you might think. I would like to note that a movie's inclusion is not a recommendation of its quality. I saw the TV Glow, my favorite movie of 2024, didn't get nominated for any Oscars. Whereas Amelia Perez, one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life, won 2. It's also not an endorsement of anyone who won an Oscar or was in an Oscar-winning movie. People who are cruel or thoughtless or racist or other forms of bigoted or absolute monsters have won Oscars. We sure all have a laundry list of those kind of people who have won awards, and I don't like that. I don't think anyone else does, but I don't think it's helping any of us to pretend that it's not the case, to pretend that these people didn't win their awards, and to pretend these movies don't exist. Even monsters can make great art sometimes, and even good people can make terrible art, so we're gonna find out what kind of movies win Oscars together. It's gonna take a while to examine them all. A lot of movies have already won Oscars, and it's not like they're stopping doing ceremonies while I'm doing my podcast. So, I hope you want to come along. And with all of that in mind, I am your host, as always, Ellie McConaughey, and with me today is Sam Marchioni.
You know that theory that, like, when Timothée Chalamet wanted to start getting taken seriously by the Academy, he started doing the most bro-y bro movies he could instead of the sensitive, sad little wet boy roles that got him famous? I feel like that's kind of what happened with Paul Thomas Anderson, too. It just paid off sooner.
And Gillian Quigley. Should I not done the last name?
No, I'm still thinking of...
I broke Gillian.
We broke Gillian.
No, you didn't. I'm like, you're making a good point, and then it threw me off my groove. And I debated having a thing to say.
Sorry!
It's fine! I'm just like, you're not wrong there!
Sam, you threw off the Emperor's groove.
I'm not the Emperor!
That's why I did this. This is all gonna stay in, isn't it?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Ellie edits nothing. I edit everything.
I don't edit out what people say, but I do edit extensively. No, you're not the Emperor. We declared Chelsea the God Emperor of Western Washington. Anyway! And we are here today to talk about Phantom Thread, the 2017 Paul Thomas Anderson film that won Best Costume Design at the 90th Academy Awards. And nothing else, despite being nominated for fucking everything.
Except cinematography, which is...
surprising, honestly.
I don't see this getting a cinematography nod, personally, but there's a lot of this year that I don't remember that well. I actually had to go back and, in my role as the costume person, not only look at what the other nominees for this year were, but also, like, look at what other releases there were in the US to be like, okay, is there anything that should have been nominated that wasn't?
I mean, 2017 is a year of highs and lows. On the one hand, Shape of Water, Best Picture winner. On the other hand, 3 out of 4 of those actor wins are they fucking suck.
The performances are them as people, or the shows, or not the shows, the movies. Yeah.
The movies, like I actually think that both Frances McDormand and Sam Rockwell are very good in Three Billboards. I think the movie's just really fucking bad. Like we're not here to talk about fucking Three Billboards. I don't actually want to do it. Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour is both a bad performance and a bad movie. We'll talk about it someday. I have mixed feelings on A Fantastic Woman, and that's all I'm gonna say right now.
I mean,
Is it at least better feelings than Emilia Perez?
Well, I don't have mixed feelings on Emilia Perez. I have extraordinarily negative feelings on Emilia Perez, so take that as you will.
that supporting actress lineup, Murderer's Row.
Supporting actress was a good run. Leslie Manville from this movie was nominated. She's extremely good in it. Her love language is acts of service, whether you like it or not.
Okay, curious. Would you have put Vicky Krieps in lead actress in this category in this year, or would you have put her in supporting?
I probably would have put her in lead.
I would have put her in lead. Oh, that I'm thinking of the wrong person. I got completely... Did I get thrown off? I did.
Yes.
Leslie Manville is also very good.
Alma.
Yes. Alma is the one whose love language is acts of service, whether you like it or not.
Cyril's love language is...
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Cyril's love language is but his routine.
I actually really like how the movie opens up and you think Cyril is like this controlling sibling, and it turns out she's just completely normal. He's the weird one.
Yeah.
I like her a lot. I like Cyril a lot.
It was really interesting for me to look at this and slowly realize, okay, this is purportedly like a gothic romance / gothic drama, because you do have the two weird siblings and the ingenue who comes in and upends everything, but actually it's the ingenue who's fucked up as well. And I should like that more than I do.
They're freak for freak, and we love them to some extent. That's why I said to some extent your mileage may vary.
Okay, so I like this movie a lot. That could just be the film, the vestiges of film bro in me. I do really like Paul Thomas Anderson. He doesn't let me down super often. Has he let me down? Maybe. You can find out. Don't worry about it. I did not find... I knew some people who found this movie very romantic. I did not. And it's not the toxic element. I think Decision to Leave is really romantic. Everyone's really childish in this movie, except for Cyril. Like, the main couple are just, like, so childish that I just couldn't get into it from, like, a romantic angle. But I do appreciate it as a movie, if that makes sense.
I got it. I gotcha.
Yeah. This is my third Paul Thomas Anderson. I have previously seen Inherent Vice. You can hear my thoughts on that over at my podcast, 6 Degrees of Star Wars. Ellie was there. I didn't like it. I was the only one on the podcast that day who didn't. And I've seen One Battle After Another, which is what prompted me to make my comment of, yeah, when Paul Thomas Anderson went for, like, the most toxic masculine boom boom action movie, that's when he got the best director and the best screenplay and the best picture win.
That's so interesting to me, because, like, we're not going to talk about One Battle After Another super much, because as Sam just indicated, it is extremely eligible for this pod, and I'm sure I'll roll it up someday. But I don't consider that a very macho movie. The number one word I would use to describe the main character is ineffectual. He stumbles along about 20 minutes after the plot, failing to accomplish anything.
Yeah, but it still feels distinctly more masculine coded than this movie, which is a sensitive romantic drama / thriller about a dressmaker in the 1950s.
That's a good point. It doesn't... Paul Thomas Anderson, I think, is, to his benefit, not a director with a dominant genre. You know, Boogie Nights is not much like There Will Be Blood, which is not much like Inherent Vice, which is not much like this. My favorite is still The Master. Come sue me, I guess, Magnolia fans. That makes me wonder. That makes me ask Sam. So as a result, you therefore have never seen There Will Be Blood, if this is your third PTA film.
Yes, correct. We have established I am in many ways a cinematic coward, and that is part of why I started a podcast, and then Jazz started a podcast, and then you started a podcast.
And then River started a podcast.
Gillian, do not start a podcast.
Gillian, start a podcast.
Gillian, no!
What? Okay, so...
But, correct, I have not seen...
I have not either, because my intro to film class did No Country that year.
Interesting.
Of course, no, I drink your milkshake. I know you have extolled that it is the scariest fucking thing in context. Unfortunately, Dropout.tv got to me first.
That's fair. Many such cases.
I was gonna make the argument for what little I know about There Will Be Blood being the broy, but he drinks milk, and as we all know...
Yeah?
Okay, that bombed. I'm done.
No, that was good. You were onto something there. Don't know if I want to follow it, but... no, There Will Be Blood is...
The joke was that something, this milk hating is... I think it's become like a performative thing, like how people keep saying... It's become... with people saying how much they hate the word moist, and the point where it almost feels performative, but this is off topic, and I am sorry, and I will have things to say about this film.
When are we ever on topic?
One of them being that first bit was just the 50s American Psycho opening montage without the narration. But I do think... I know, sorry.
I'm not sure whether I agree with you, because, like, it's not presenting Reynolds Woodcock.
What a name. British Britain. Explain.
It's not presenting him as particularly malignant. Like, Ellie, we kind of pointed it out already. At the opening, Cyril is kind of presented as, like, the bitchy bad one. But then, no, it turns out that Reynolds is the unstable one, and he's about to get so much worse.
Right, and I was mostly meant that as a joke, but also with how meticulous the routine is, and it makes sense, because he's a fashion man, and he is known for that.
But my routine!
But his routine! And he's known for details! He sews little things in his dresses! He has little messages.
Honestly, like, at a certain point, I was siding with him. Like, not to be autistic on main, but yeah, you've interrupted my flow. I have this thing at work. People will come in for appointments with me, and sometimes it'll be like, they have an appointment at 2:30. They show up at 2:05, and somebody at the front desk will message me like, hey, Sam, okay, I will be there in 25 minutes when the appointment actually is, but now my process is interrupted. Now my preparation is completely thrown off, because all I can think is that there is a person sitting in the front office waiting for me, and it's thrown me off my game.
I actually... Okay, so, again, being autistic on main, I like to get into a little bit of a flow state. Your girl wants to do things how she does them, in the order she does them, blah, 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 blah. But, like, so I appreciate how important his routine is to him. I kind of like, which is one of the reasons why I think the movie really works. You're supposed to get into his routine as understandable, and then sort of slowly realize, like, oh, dude, you cannot treat people the way you treat them, and be a good person.
Not to make excuses for a man, but social skills? His social skills are...
Yeah.
I mean, with the routine plus the lack of social skills... And we've already talked about being autistic on main, so you can connect those dots if you want to.
He's autistic. I mean, like, people... The premise that Mr. Woodcock here... Reynolds Woodcock, Britain, explain yourself, is autistic is not like... I don't think either of will be surprised to discover that's not a new take
I know. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. So, like, as an autistic person, I sort of, like, had this thought during this particular viewing, which is like, okay, so he's clearly got something kind of lightly wrong with him. Which is the same thing, if we are reading it correctly and he's autistic, is the same thing that I have wrong with. Well, one of the things. There's a lot wrong with me, but in this case, this particular thing I also have wrong with me. And so I sort of had this, like, thought that, like, okay, he's not, like, nobility, but he has a lot of proximity to power in a political and economic system that is very rigidly stratified. And I feel like if he was just like a village tailor someplace else where he was working for like normal everyday people, he would have learned not to act like that. And you can see that he can act very charming and gregarious when he's around his clients. For the most part, he does have his moments like with the drunk one.
Tony winner Harriet Sampson Harris, everybody. She won a Tony for Yellowface.
Eep.
Thoroughly Modern Millie has not aged well.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say eep.
And Thoroughly Modern Millie is eligible for your podcast. She's not in the movie version, but it's eligible.
Look, I've done way too much black and brown and yellow face already, Sam. I need a break. I was not anticipating this much racist casting when I started this project. I thought it was a little better.
Blame the Academy, not me.
I do.
Anyway.
Now I hope, okay. I know Breakfast at Tiffany's is eligible. If Mickey Rooney was nominated, and I am not going to look that up right now.
Suffering.
Yes. Okay, I am.
Speaking of suffering,
yay!
Let's talk about the costume design category this year.
Oh boy.
Because this has somehow become my niche. So, besides Phantom Thread, which won, obviously, the nominees were Victoria and Abdul, which, yeah, makes sense. Period drama, 19th century, a lot of lush details. Consolata Boyle is generally impeccable on that kind of thing. Makes sense. Shape of Water. I think that, in part, Shape of Water is in here because it did not get a makeup nomination. I think what they decided was that the creature for Shape of Water counted as costuming since it was full body.
Fine, I guess.
I see the logic.
What one best makeup is both bad makeup and a bad movie, but also like
we're not here to talk about that.
I'm one of those like freaks who very rarely accepts, the movie was bad, but you know, this particular technical detail was good, so no. What is the point of, you know, maybe Victoria and Abdul has really great costumes, I don't remember, but that movie fucking sucks. So like, I don't feel like we should be awarding it.
The point of these awards is achievement in a specific field.
Well, achieve making the movie good.
I question why Jacqueline Duran has a nomination for Darkest Hour, because Darkest Hour is a 1940s war film, and fashion in those movies is just typically so fucking boring because it's a lot of men in suits. So I don't get why that nomination is there. I get why the Beauty and the Beast nomination is there. She was double nominated in this category. I am not here to defend Belle's yellow dress. I know the problems with it. I think it could be significantly improved if it had, like, more petticoats and more contrast in the detailing, but that's neither here nor there. But the rest of the costume design on Beauty and the Beast is really good. She went through a lot of details. She had a lot of Provençal aesthetics that are very specific to this one region of France. She did some very cool and creative things with incorporating the various details of the servants' inanimate object accoutrement into their return to normal. There's a lot of cool stuff in Beauty and the Beast, so I get why that nomination went in there. I do want to rattle off just a couple of other things that could have been nominated instead.
Please do.
Love it or hate it, Kenneth Branagh's Murder on the Orient Express, I think, has very good costume design in terms of building out the world and the characters and giving everybody a distinct kind of visual palette. There was Hidden Figures as an option, The Beguiled, Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman, My Cousin Rachel, and even though Hell is So Hot, Harvey Weinstein, I would have said Tulip Fever could have gotten a nomination in there because late 17th century fashion is really hard to make pretty, but Michael O'Connor is the kind of person you get to do it.
You are, of course, not addressing how the costuming was in this film.
Well, I'm going to get to that because I think that the reason that this movie ended up getting the award was in part because Michael... I have Michael O'Connor in my head now. The costuming is such an integral part of this movie in a way that pulls the attention. Like, you can't not come away from Phantom Thread thinking about the costuming because there's such a level of effort that goes into it. There is such detail put on it, talking about like the Flemish lace and the various cuts of silk and satin. The costuming is such an integral part of this movie that it definitely would have made much more of an impression on Academy voters.
So of the films nominated, which one would you have given it to?
Of the films nominated, I think that this was the reasonable choice. Like, I don't think there's anybody who can complain about this. I might have given it to Shape of Water just on the grounds that I mentioned of, I think that the creature costume work is incredible in Shape of Water. Mm-hmm. But, you know, looking at this category this year, I would say it's generally underwhelming. So I have a hard time feeling like there's one I really, really would advocate for over another.
One could possibly counter-argument that best does not equal most, but it's not a most costumes deal in Phantom Thread, despite being about haute couture and high fashion, and I was gonna say chic, and that'll be a completely, yeah.
That's how you get stuff like Milena Canonero winning for Grand Budapest Hotel in a year when there are much more most costumes.
And chic.
Yeah.
He loves chic.
He loves chic.
I don't know why him flipping out about the word chic tickled me so much. I've never watched this movie without just, like, cackling about it. And it's not a funny scene. He spends the next, like, minute of screen time trash-talking his wife as she stands behind him. Reynolds, you are a bad husband.
I think the chic thing really resonates. Not to be autistic on Maine, but it's like when somebody tells you, be normal, and you're like, what is normal? Nobody gave me a handbook that told me what normal is.
I think it's a little more...
Or being told, there's no such thing as normal, you're fine. And there's a full standard of what is normal, but nobody told you, but you know that you're not that. And that's a...
Listen, there's no actual standard for normal, but also people will in fact decide that you're not normal and get mad at you about it. Yay!
Yeah, love it!
I actually feel like it was a little bit more like, to quote one of my all-time favorite Simpsons moments, I used to be with it, then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
So I tied onions to my belt.
As was the style
at the time.
Gillian gets me.
Just fuck already.
On it.
What?
No, it'll be great. See, the two of you will bang, and then Gillian will poison you with mushrooms.
Please don't poison me with mushrooms.
I will not poison you with mushrooms!
Oh, good. You know what? That is the thing this romance is missing. It needed to be literally toxic Yuri.
Maybe, yeah, Cyril should probably be in the mood for a controversially younger girlfriend. I didn't say should, but maybe someone should push the option there. I'm not. Maybe, I don't know.
She is controversially younger already. She's like, what?
That's why I said the sister should also have a controversial
Oh, yes. Oh, Cyril. I'm sorry. I misheard you.
Not Reynolds. Which, these names. Okay.
I think Cyril would much rather settle down with a nice, stable lesbian and have something, just have tea.
We have evidence that Reynolds has gone through several young women at this point, and he's like, I'm a confirmed bachelor, and I'm like, that is not what that means! That is not what that means, you fucker! That is for gay men, not fuckboys.
Exactly. No, I think part of the reason why I like Cyril so much as a character is by the end of the movie, she's just like, okay, can we...
You know those days when you're like, this might as well happen?
Yeah, that's her whole vibe. I'm surprised. I like Leslie Manville a lot in this movie. Tony Award winner Leslie Manville, is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yep.
She won In Between Me rolling up this movie.
She won for a motherfucking production of Oedipus.
Oedipus. It is they do pronounce it Oedipus in that revival because, one, British import, two, he does that.
Oedipus?
Oedipus.
What I'd recommend if you haven't seen her in it is Leslie Manville in Harlots. I love the TV show Harlots. It was unjustly canceled far too soon, and it also has lesbians, Ellie. It has Liv Tyler lesbians.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and say, having seen Dr. T and the Women, Liv Tyler lesbians is not necessarily a level of quality. Because that movie has that too, and that movie sucks.
Well, Kate Fleetwood's in. I didn't know Kate Fleetwood was in Harlot.
I've been meaning to watch Harlots for forever. You didn't need to tell me it had lesbians in it, Sam. It got unfairly canceled. Of course it has lesbians in it. That's what they do. Oh, you have a lesbian in your show? Bam, we're canceling you. Unless you're Yellow Jackets.
That's because there weren't... Wait, no, they're confirmed.
They are confirmed.
There's Tyvan.
They do in fact fuck on screen.
Yeah.
Despite the everything else that goes on in that show. You know what? We're not going to talk about Yellow Jackets because I will go on about Yellow Jackets. Hello, Zandy.
And besides, most of the time he's wearing a green jacket, so why is yellow in the conversation?
I've never seen Yellow Jackets.
You should watch Yellow Jackets, Sam.
Well, now I'm not going to.
It's the show where someone asked me, isn't that the show with cannibalism? Yeah. Why do they do that? Well, depending on the context, either ritual, survival, or romance. So, yeah.
So this is all three on the Ellie scale, isn't it?
Yes.
I think it's not that long.
How many seasons?
I think they're wrapping it up at 4.
They are, yeah, I believe so too.
Anyway, how did we get on... I said that...
I was trying to get us back on topic with the green jacket comment. It is a nice jacket.
It is... whatever, I don't know. Part of the reason why I like having why I like having anyone on this show is that they often know more than me, and Sam in particular often knows more than me about costuming. I think the costuming in this movie looks quite good. That wedding dress is real fucking boring, though, bud. Like...
Yeah.
Harper Rose's or the one that he tripped over?
No, he trips over.
Yeah, it was very, very basic Princess Grace stuff, which I think fits in with the whole, he's classic, he's outdated, he is not chic.
Not chic.
But in general, I would say that the aesthetic is, more than anything, probably inspired by the House of Dior and Dior's new look. We actually had a conversation about this several weeks ago when Devil Wears Prada 2 was first, coming out. I think it was Matt who asked, is there something wrong with Dior that they're dunking on it? And I'm like, well, Dior knows what it likes and has known what it's liked for, the last 70 years and just kind of run with it. You can generally look at a Dior dress and know, yeah, that's Dior. And I was looking at some of these costumes and I was like, that's not Dior.
Apparently, and I can't, I'm not a fashion person. I have a lot of fashion people in my life, for whatever reason, but I personally don't know shit about fashion. According to what I've read, the tall Thomas Anderson was inspired by Balenciaga.
Balenciaga.
Okay. Balenciaga was inspired by Balenciaga. Maybe I will edit that. You don't know. Maybe I did already. Apparently, Daniel Day-Lewis went insane enough to learn how to make a Balenciaga dress. Because that's what Daniel Day-Lewis, actual crazy person.
I was gonna say Fork Fountain Kitchen.
Like, the only method actor who's not, I'm gonna be method because I'm gonna be an asshole. It's like, I'm going to be method. I'm going to be Abraham Lincoln the entire fucking time. I'm gonna be method and learn how to fucking make a dress.
Yeah, like, I feel I agree with Robert Pattinson when he says that, like, for the most part, people are just, like, being method to be an asshole. You'll note that enemy of the pod, Jared Leto, is very often doing method. Daniel Day-Lewis is one of the exceptions. Dude's just, that's what I said. A dude is just a genuine crazy person. I appreciate that about him. Go forth, Daniel, and be insane. I'm glad you unretired, even if Anemone isn't actually very good.
Wait, did he unretire? I thought he re-retired.
I don't know if he re-retired after that movie. He appeared in a movie last year that was just kind of mediocre.
Nepo baby.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the main reason why he did it is, if you look at the movie he was in,
Nepo baby.
Yeah, the director was Ronan Day-Lewis. I wonder if that might have inspired him.
Aw, that's cute.
Yeah, it's nice.
Wikipedia did not say anything about re-retirement after doing his son a favor, but...
Nepo baby times 2, his mom's Rebecca. I don't have time to start thinking about Rebecca Miller, because then we're going to get on a tangent about She Came to Me.
I love you, Sam.
Do you have any idea how disappointed I was by that movie?
I don't, and I would like to know. But you're right, we probably shouldn't get off on a tangent, on a tangent, on a tangent. We should try to remain on topic, which we are very bad at. I'm just going over my notes to try to remember what talking points I wanted to make.
The score kind of fucks.
Score kind of fucks.
Severely.
Indeed. The score is doing a lot of the work to keep me invested, honestly. Like, I put this in my Letterboxd review of, like, how is it so hard for this movie to hold my interest? It should be catnip to me.
I mean, I don't want to speculate why, because I don't want to seem like I'm psychoanalyzing my friends. I guess, if I were to guess, I think you have a lower tolerance for movies about shitty dudes than I do. I can get into just watch. You didn't like Marty Supreme. I loved Marty Supreme. There's the difference. Since we mentioned Timothée Chalamet earlier,
I would rather spend a day with Reynolds Woodcock than I would with Marty Mauser.
I would rather. I'm more of a crashing this plane with no survivors kind of gal. There.
And I know that the entire time Reynolds Woodcock would be calling me fat.
Yeah.
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 1950s.
The fashion industry just calls people fat from the 1950s until, well, we'll let you know.
Oh, you like that Alma doesn't have breasts, Reynolds? What do you think of these motherfuckers?
We cut back in on the last day of my life in 2090. Nope, still haven't stopped. Bolds me to think we'll still have podcasts in 2090. Anyway, yeah, I that would be my assumption, frankly. I think that's going to make you always kind of resistant to Paul Thomas Anderson. I can't think of one of his leads who isn't just kind of broadly shitty.
Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk?
No, he's kind of broadly shitty. He does learn to be less shitty across the movie, which, take that as you will.
Don't you dare say Inherent Vice.
No, he's a shitty dude. I was going to say maybe Licorice Pizza. I haven't actually seen Licorice Pizza yet, which is possibly a failing of mine. I don't know. Maybe I'll really like it. We'll see when I eventually see it. But no, most of his characters are just kind of shit. Just kind of shitty, sad people. And I think that you don't really respond to stories like that. Would you say that that's accurate?
I don't know if it's that I don't respond to stories like that as much as it is I think it also depends a lot on the actors, because, like, I want to kind of juxtapose this with the movie Vox Lux, which came out the year after, by Brady Corbett. And Natalie Portman is utterly reprehensible in it. Like, her character is one of the worst people I have ever seen on screen, but she is incredibly compelling to watch, and I have like this weird love-hate relationship with the film where it lives rent-free in my brain, but also like anytime I talk to somebody about it, they're like, Sam, do you like this movie? And I'm like, I do, but I don't, but shut up! And so, like, I don't know, I think that maybe with this movie in particular, it has to do with it being so subdued in places that's also being perceived by my brain as a lack of stimulus. But then I think about like One Battle After Another, and nobody could accuse Sean Penn or Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie of being subtle. But like, the person I remember most fondly from that movie, those people are Benicio del Toro and Chase Infinity.
Fuck yeah.
And Tiana Taylor, but also I kind of forget that Tiana Taylor's in the movie after she leaves the movie. I'm sorry, Tiana Taylor.
I mean, I really like One Battle After Another. Leonardo DiCaprio is probably one of the more broadly heroic characters that Paul Thomas Anderson has built his movie around, to the degree to which he's the lead and not Chase Infinity, but never mind. But, like, he's also, by the time the actual plot proper starts, just, like, burned out and high all the time and barely functional. He regularly fucks stuff up because he can't, like, function. And I think that you're right. I think that I think this is a very subdued movie, which I think is actually kind of, I don't want to say it's unique for him. I don't think he does, like, super intense. One Battle After Another is probably the outlier more than this is, but I think that, you know, when I compare it to like The Master or to There Will Be Blood, there are more punch-ups of intensity in there, even though they are just primarily dialogue. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I think it's because Daniel Day-Lewis's performance is so even when he's like freaking out. And like at the dinner scene, he's like freaking out clearly, but he's not, like, he doesn't do very much about it. He just sort of gets pissy. He's such a child in that scene. Genuinely such a fucking baby. And that's sort of the moment that makes me buy why Alma is into this guy, because she gets petty and mean in exactly the same way, if that makes sense. They both start just getting petty and childish and mean.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's true love. You must stay married to stay away from everyone else.
Freak for freak derogatory. Is it derogatory? Maybe?
When is freak for freak not derogatory?
Hey, all of my relationships are freak for freak.
Okay, fine.
Hello, people who are dating me. Yes, I did just call you freaks, and I love you. No, I mean, like, one of his first lines in the movie is him telling his partner when she's clearly upset, I simply don't have time for confrontations. And it's just I think it just sort of sets the tone for the entire movie. Just like, man, talk to people like a person. Come on, man.
So there was one part in the score that sounded like the Windows XP error message going off. It's like when Cyril and Barbara Rose are going up the stairs, you just hear the dum dum dum.
Maybe the sound editor had some problems with his computer and left it in.
Maybe.
Let me just go back through.
Maybe.
I don't think it was intentional, but it is a funny observation.
It is a funny observation.
It's still weird looking at anything Paul Thomas Anderson has ever seen. And at every point, I'm like, this man has been in a relationship with Maya Rudolph for years. They have 4 children. I cannot think of anyone who is less Paul Thomas Anderson coded than Maya Rudolph.
I think it was Paul Thomas Anderson and was it Fiona Apple? Well, not Quentin Tarantino, who did coke with Fiona Apple and made her decide I have to stop doing coke.
Wait, what the?
Was it that Fiona? I'm gonna Google this because it was a good story.
Maybe.
Apple. It was Quentin Tarantino and someone else. Yeah, there it is.
I was going to say, if it wasn't Paul Thomas Anderson, it might have been Paul W.S. Anderson.
There are too many Andersons, and their names are all too similar. It's Paul W.S. Anderson, Wes Anderson, and Paul Thomas Anderson. No, one of you needs to change.
But they can't change because that's how SAG rules work. Because you can't have someone with the same name.
No, one of you needs to, like, get off the Anderson or get off the Paul.
Oh.
It's too much.
Sorry. Get off the Anderson, you say.
Paul W.S. Anderson, change your last name to Jovovich. You love your wife enough. I believe in you. Yeah, apparently she had an excruciating night doing coke with Quentin Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson when she was dating Paul Thomas Anderson, and it made her decide she had to quit coke. Which...
Gillian, are you okay? Do you need to quit coke?
I just need a sip of water.
I don't know. Does coke make you cough? I know nothing about drugs.
I am not, for the purposes of this podcast, I'm trying to keep yes-anding here, but my throat was dry and I just need a sip of water.
I was more going to inform Sam. So what you have to imagine is think of Quentin Tarantino and now take off the filter and speed up his talking. And that's how he's going to be. And ask yourself how that
No!
Ask yourself how that evening is going to be. Ask yourself how often you're going to hear the N-word. It's more than once.
Oh, God. Quentin Tarantino, go away. Go away.
At some point in the last, 3 or 4 years, my lowering patience for Tarantino blossomed into active dislike, and I don't know if I can quantify that. Except that I want him to shut up and go away, yeah. Maybe it's just because I'm a girl now, and I don't have to pretend that Pulp Fiction is my favorite movie anymore.
Okay, but here's a question about Paul Thomas Anderson. Now that he has the Best Picture, and the Best Director, and the Best Adapted Screenplay Oscars, what the fuck do you think he does next? Because he was doing a movie once every 4 to 5 years or so, and they'd get, all this Oscars attention, but they wouldn't win up until, maybe they get one thing they win, but then One Battle After Another gets, 4 of them. So, or 5, it got, the casting Oscar too. I don't know. We're not talking about that, but, where the fuck does Paul Thomas Anderson go next is what I want to know. Because he seems to do films for absolutely no one but himself, and is this is what I feel like doing to Oscar bait this half of the decade.
Honestly, that I kind of like people who make movies predominantly for themselves, regardless of how intense their output is. You know, I like what's his name? The guy who did Tar, coming back after having not directed a movie for 15 years. Wasn't it 15 years?
Yeah. You're thinking of Todd Field, not to be confused with your other favorite, Todd Haynes.
My boy Todd Haynes, another guy who... And then there are guys like Steven Soderbergh who's like, oh yeah, I'm going to make a movie roughly every 10 months for this decade. Which, good for you. Are you all right? But good for you. I don't know where he's going to go from here. I think that he is one of those dudes who, however Oscar baity his movies are or aren't, he is primarily making them because he wants to have made that movie. So I think he'll be popping back up in 2029 with something no one but me will see.
I mean, I'm sure someone other than you will see it, because whoever makes it, it'll probably be, at that point, will be down to just Disney and Paramount, but it'll still be, from the Academy Award-winning director of One Battle After Another. Brought to you by OpenAI, Palantir, fucking whatever.
So we are recording this still in the midst of Pride Month, June 20th, Natch. And I was chatting with a friend of mine the other day that, so on Blue Sky, 2 or 3 days ago, there was a headline going around that film execs were looking around for more Reddit posts to adapt into films because Backrooms is a big hit. And my thought, I guess, at this point is that over the last 5 to 10 years, if you wanted to find the one common denominator between all the different horror movies that suddenly got to be huge hits. Get Out, Hereditary and Midsommar, The Witch, Weapons, Backrooms, Obsession. What they did was they didn't go find Reddit posts or any of that shit and throw money at them. You got a guy or a gal, we could also throw the substance in there, who had an idea, and you let them fucking cook. You let them just fucking make something. And yeah, that's not gonna do great sometimes, but I feel like that's still gonna be the number one fucking way you make a movie big, or you get a good director. That's how we got We're All Going to the World's Fair, and subsequently I Saw the TV Glow. That's how we got Titan and Raw. That's how we're getting all these good movies. Find someone who's got an idea, let them figure it the fuck out. And so, like, I hope that Hollywood is eventually going to learn they got to stop chasing fucking AI bullshit or Reddit posts or any of that fucking shit, because that's not how good shit gets made. That's not how shit anyone wants to see gets made. Also, the audience won't hear this for another 2 weeks, but let's see if we can go to the hat trick for 3 indie movies directed by first time directors. Let's go make Girls Like Girls a really big hit. Get out and go watch it. Thus spake the Ellie.
We might not be getting that with Girls Like Girls. I hope we get it with Leviticus, but
Both of them. Make them both big hits.
I'm surprised my local reel got Leviticus, but we are here.
You live in less friendly parts of the country. I'm sorry to hear.
It's all right. Also, it's not a big regal, so and we don't usually get more niche indie releases, so that is.
I have not seen Leviticus yet. I saw Girls Like Girls 2 days ago. It's really good.
Sweet.
Backrooms is also really good. I haven't seen Obsession yet. I've heard it's really good. Let people cook is, I guess, this movie. I like this movie a lot. It wasn't a huge hit, but won some Oscars, made its budget back. Let people cook.
Maya Rudolph is in all of those weird animated kids movies so that Paul Thomas Anderson can run around doing whatever the fuck he wants.
And we salute her sacrifice.
Hey,
I'm not going to edit a 21 gun salute into here. Just not.
I mean, at least the thing about Maya Rudolph is that she generally elevates just about anything she's in.
I mean, and she's also currently Mary Todd Lincoln, so that isn't like a complete.
That's right. She is an O'Mary, isn't she?
Paul Thomas Anderson, make a pro shot of Oh Mary. I am not asking.
Yes. Also, that's the other thing we got to do. Hollywood. More theatrically released pro shots. I will go see 6 in theaters if you fucking do more theatrically released pro shots.
But it's on TDF. I haven't checked to see if it's on TDF. Don't kill me. Sorry.
Go see it, Ellie.
Yes.
The tickets are in August.
We are hilariously off topic.
So the thing about this movie is that I don't want to be that person who's like, oh, you have to experience it. But, like, this isn't a movie where stuff happens. It's a movie that you have to let happen to you. Like, you have to be there in the watching of it to be like, oh god, they are matching each other's freak.
I mean, I think that, like, yeah, that's the vibes are what you need. I do think "Kiss Me, My Girl, Before I'm Sick Again" is the line of the movie. Also, there's a big thing about his mother that just kind of never resolves. They never really...
Yeah, like, another director would have been like, and actually his mother and his wife will be played by the same actress.
Hi, Guillermo. How you doing?
It's not limited to Guillermo, but at least Guillermo actually did something with it.
I did like that both, what's her name, both Frankenstein's mother and his love interest were played by the same actress, and not just because, hey, twice the Mia Goth in my movie. I think that, like, the mother stuff never really resolves. Like, it's clearly something that's fucked him up, but they don't really, like, he's not really ever going to talk about it. He does sew weird messages into dresses, though. That's a weird thing to do. Sewed a lock of her hair into one of his coats. That's odd. That's odd, right? I'm not alone in thinking that's a little bit odd, right?
But his routine. But his mementos.
But his freak.
But his freak. Also, if I had a nickel for every time Daniel Day-Lewis was in an Oscar-nominated movie in a Fellini-esque era where he plays an impresario of a... It has issues regarding women. I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right? But he's also...
Don't see Nine. Nine is not a good movie musical. It's just not. I've been in Nine the stage play. Just don't.
I've not seen Nine the musical. It is the big, like, hey, what's that over there going on in his filmography? It's like, I don't know how he got attached to it or why.
They needed a big name.
Right, but why him?
And Guido Contini is theoretically a role that you can play without being a super talented singer.
Raul Julia and Antonio Banderas have both played him.
Okay. Yeah. Antonio Banderas, interesting.
It's much more a vehicle for the women around him. Like, Jane Krakowski won a Tony for being in Nine because she did an entire musical number basically naked while hanging from, like, aerialist silks.
I mean, he was not nominated for an Oscar for that movie, but a bunch of people were. And I remember that I have this extremely vague memory of people being very confused by that because, like, wait, what the fuck is Nine? 2009, odd year at the Oscars.
As opposed to the other 2009.
Yes, exactly.
That was in the Best Animated, yeah.
Yep.
That wasn't actually nominated for Best Anime, but also that was the year that Sandra Bullock won for The Blind Side. Yeah, we don't. That was a year at the Oscars. I'm still not positive if I'll go to bat for The Hurt Locker, but I'll go to bat for Catherine Bigelow. So take from that what you will. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about Nine, so I can't join in on this conversation. Sing amongst yourselves.
So, like, bringing it back to Phantom Thread, like, at least this isn't another fucking movie where I've been musically edged. I've had that too many times, and we coined that term on this fucking podcast for Anna Karenina.
We did.
Another Best Costume winner, but something did kind of strike me, because this was a movie filmed on 35mm, and I could tell because I recognized, like, the graininess of 35mm, which made me think, among other things, of Black Swan, which I also recently saw. Black Swan is currently on stage at the American Repertory Theater in Cambridge, and I need it to go to Broadway so bad. But, like, that's one of the aesthetic touches I liked about this movie, like, that little bit of extra, like, make it look older, make it look more like a relic from the 1950s.
Oh, absolutely, same.
It does look like an older film. So I like 35mm. There is a very good video by Steve Yedlin where he basically shoots two things, once in digital and once in 35mm, and then does some stuff to the digital footage in post that makes it look like it's been shot in 35mm, so you can replicate that if you want to, but it's hard, and that video didn't come out until I think the year after this. But also that gives me an opportunity to talk about Steve Yedlin, who I think is a really good cinematographer, but is mostly known as Rian Johnson's cinematographer. So, you know, I agree that I think that shooting in 35mm, especially for a movie from the 50s, makes a lot of sense. It makes it look like it's from the 50s. It makes it feel like it's from the 50s. I'll say it, I'm a little surprised it didn't get a cinematography nom. The technicals at the 90th were not the best. I guess I really liked Dunkirk.
I thought you are here for any time Roger Deakins gets his flowers.
I am always here for Roger Deakins to get his flowers. I don't recall actually liking Blade Runner 2049 much. I should probably rewatch it. The last time I rewatched it was on a plane, which is not a good environment to watch a movie if I'm being 100emoji.gov.
Yeah. Looking at the 90th list in general, I want to know what fucking, like, grip on the Academy's balls did Joe Wright have to get this many fucking nominations for Darkest Hour?
I don't know. It's not a very impressive looking film. It's just kind of honestly, it's pretty generic. Like I don't. The director's category is like the movies that are really good nominated this year. You know, Greta Gerwig's there, Jordan Peele's there. Speaking of original horror films, Chris Nolan's there. Our boy PTA is there, and our winner, Shape of Water. We love Guillermo del Toro.
Get more!
I'm trying to remember what of this year I really liked. I like Get Out a lot. I still have not seen Coco. Should I see Coco?
You'll cover it eventually.
I really like Coco, and I cry still at the end of it. Considering your relationship and like what you have told me about Petite Maman, Coco may be intense for you at certain points.
Yay!
Because this was when we kind of started dipping our toes into exploring generational trauma in animated movies.
The last time I can remember someone bringing up Coco in I'm trying to think of what precisely she said. A Latina YouTuber I quite like brought up that because Latina women or characters in movies are so over sexualized, the way they've been trying to avoid that is just by making them all kids movies. And it was really, and she brought up Coco and what's the other one?
Encanto?
That's the one. Which I've also never seen Encanto. Guess I'll roll it up someday. I heard that Bruno song a lot. Yay!
Wait, I didn't hiss.
I wasn't like directing at you. I was just sort of like, yay! I guess that I heard that song a lot. So I don't know. I'll have to see Coco one day. Maybe I'll roll it up sometime. Yeah, it's mostly just the Dunkirk awards in the technicals, which makes sense. It's a technical movie.
And it's also loudest equals best sound
Yeah.
for sound.
Like, congratulations, Lee Smith and Richard King and Alex Gibson and Greg Landecker and Gary A. Rizzo and Mark Weingarten. You gave me anxiety. Good for you.
I mean, that's what they were trying to do. Also, this is I think this is the most recent Star Wars film to be nominated for an Oscar. I don't think Rise of Skywalker got any nominations. Did it? Now I gotta go look.
There is no Rise of Skywalker.
If you want to love something, you must acknowledge its negative parts. Nope, it got a score nomination. Yay!
Yeah, because it was like John Williams' last thing, wasn't it? Like, he was like, I'm retiring after this or something?
Probably. Though I feel like he said that before as well.
John Williams, handshake Daniel Day-Lewis.
Handshake Hayao Miyazaki, frankly.
Not exact, because he did not, because he scored The Fabelmans, which was after.
Was it released after, but filmed before? Like, you gotta remember production can be weird as fuck.
It's true.
Yeah, let me double production. Okay.
John Williams' discography.
Pre-production started for The Fabelmans in 2021.
Okay, fine.
His most recent soundtrack was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. No, wait, the Sugarland Express. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is the Sugarland? No, I don't need to know.
Oh, no, he's still going. He's still going! He did the Disclosure Day score!
Him, handshake, Martin Scorsese. I'm gonna fucking die doing this.
Oh god, I hope he's not getting on the AI bandwagon like fucking Scorsese is.
I hope not either.
Martin, why do you hurt me?
Is he a secret agent?
I may be incredibly underwhelmed by what I have seen of him thus far, but at least I have some level of confidence that Paul Thomas Anderson is anti-AI.
Well, that's sort of like the other thing that I was talking earlier about, like indie movies that made a ton of money, and what's really great about them to me is that we have these young filmmakers. The guy who directed Backrooms is 20 years old, 21 now, and he fucking hates AI. I think we got to worry about the older filmmakers who are getting into, Jane Schoenbrunn, I know, just fucking hates AI too. So we gotta like listen to them in this one case. Don't get into AI, kids. Especially since all those data centers are gonna explode, or the bubble's gonna pop, and
They're going to poison us.
they're all gonna poison us. We're all gonna die anyway.
And then somebody's gonna make a movie about it starring Julia fucking Roberts.
Yay! I'm excited to be in Aaron Brockovich too. Now this time it's Brokovich. No, I don't, that's nothing.
Brokervich, I hardly know her, Vich.
All right, I think on that note we are officially just like babbling. Sam, final thoughts. Take it away.
You now have an additional mission. Find a Scorsese movie I like, and find a Paul Thomas Anderson movie I like.
Christ. You know what? I'm gonna keep throwing. God, what is a Scorsese movie I think you'd really like?
You've already said that you think I'd like Hugo, and I think I might like Age of Innocence when we get to that. I'm more curious to know what Paul Thomas Anderson movie you think I'll like, but that'll be later.
All time. I think you would like Punch Drunk Love, and I think you would appreciate The Master. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Gillian, final thoughts.
Not bad for a first Paul Thomas Anderson.
Excellent. I'll have to get you on some more.
Yeah.
My final thoughts is, Cyril, do you free on Thursday?
God damn it, Ellie!
Sam, while you fume at my attempt to start a non-toxic Yuri with Reynolds Woodcock's stiff upper lip sister, would you have anything you'd like to plug?
As mentioned, I am the host of 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I am the domino that started this fucking chain, and I also bounce around on the internet sometimes as Demisem. And finally, I will say, fuck AI, fight the merger, don't let Paramount acquire Warner Brothers.
Seconded on all counts.
And I am the host of Nothing, and you can find my stuff nowhere, but you can find me on social media at CutiePuppyFire.
We'll get you, Jillian. You'll start a podcast.
The podcast thoughts loom in my head like the grad school thoughts. They're tempting, but I probably won't do it.
As always, our host can be found on Blue Sky, Medium, and Letterboxd at LSR42, and on Tumblr at Football in Tuxedos. This podcast can be found on both YouTube and Spotify. If you liked what you heard, maybe give us a comment to tell us what you liked, or just like the video if it's on YouTube. Subscribe. Make sure you get new episodes. They come out every other Wednesday as of right now. And if you didn't like what you heard, I'm sorry.
And thanks to both Sam and Gillian for coming out. I will find a Paul Thomas Anderson you'll like. But for now, we're moving away from Paul Thomas Anderson into a movie that came out before he was even born. We're going to be talking about a Tennessee Williams adaptation. No, not that one. Sweet Bird of Youth. Hope to see you there.